you guys, Trisha Turner here. It is Tuesday, 12 o'clock Central. This is Walk Away Wealthy, formerly known as Anything But Average, but we changed the name. This is episode 2 of the new name because we partnered up with Mission Matters, which is a podcast network. And so would they like to walk away wealthy better? Because it's the same concept. We're delivering knowledge, wisdom, positive messages into this world. And so they thought it was more catchier. You also have to excuse our darker background because we just moved locations. So I don't have everything hooked up to par here. So, but I do have my good friend Harley with me today. And so his background is way better. Hi, Harley.
Hey, how are you?
I am doing awesome. So what we're going to do today, you guys, we're going to follow our normal format. Number one, the real estate market is shifting and has been shifting for like over a month now. Harley is in real estate with me, but he's got some other stuff going on and he's been in real estate for a while. So I always like to start the show every week with Harley. Want you to let everybody know where you are in the world, what you do for a living, and how long you've been doing it.
Yeah, all right, thanks. Yeah, well, I am in Fairfax, Virginia, which is the DC area. Essentially, if people ask me where I'm at, I usually just say, yeah, I'm in the DC area. It's a DC metroplex. Most of us, I'm licensed in 3 states, Virginia, Maryland, DC. A lot of agents around here are, just because there's something called like just, the DMV, they call it, area. Yeah, so a lot of government work, everybody's an attorney here. So, so that's sort of the makeup, of what it is where I'm at.
How long you been doing real estate?
I've been in the real estate field since 2005. I started as a lender. I did that for a couple of years. That's back in the good old days when you could just get your license and, you weren't a lender one day and then the next day you are one.
And then remember back then too, that was like before there were all those regulations, pretty much anyone could get a loan.
Yeah, that's right. When I got out, when they started making regulations about it. So
same. Isn't that crazy?
But it was good. I figured I wanted to start with like the hardest one first, like I didn't want to just jump into real estate right away. I wanted to learn the financial instrument to it. And I'm glad that I did, because, there's a lot of nuances. And really, at the end of the day, you're buying and selling real estate. You're using the leverage of money and capital, and to do so. And so that that I wanted to learn that part of it.
So don't you find it fascinating going from that to then those super low interest rates? And now we've, of course, crept up on the interest rate, kind of like it was in 04, 05, 06. We're headed in that same direction.
Yeah, it is. And, there's opportunity everywhere. Right. And
why did you get out of lending?
Well, so I, it wasn't something I was going to do forever anyways. And I did that when I was in the military. And then I got a job as, I was in water treatment. So I did water treatment, like drinking water for the city of Seattle.
Okay.
And so I ran their water plants, and that afforded a lot of downtime. And so I was able to, go to school and learn and get a license and do all that kind of stuff, during that time. And I've always been fascinated with real estate, and I wanted just to be an investor. I was never wanted to be an agent, actually. And then my buddy from Alaska, I'm from Alaska. I was born and raised in Alaska. And
it's crazy.
Yeah. My best buddy, Tyler Eddy, he said, Harley, you should really just get your real estate license. No. And I did. And I went downfield with it. And I ended up joining a group with a buddy of mine named Matt Steele, and he did foreclosures. So I really talk about just jumping in both feet into the fire. I mean, I was involved in the takeout sale. So basically everybody wanted to know what I could sell it for, because we're buying and selling investor flips at auction.
Yeah.
And in Seattle, that is the most aggressive way to buy a property. Is it's all cash on the barrel, no take backs. You have 30 seconds to do it. It's right now, full money, right now, you're doing it right.
Intense.
Intense. So we ran an entire system, and at the time we kind of had our own mini MLS, and then we'd buy 2, 3, 4 properties a week. And some weeks we wouldn't get anything, but we would, that's what our goal was. And then my job was to resell them. So I had to get really good, really fast at figuring out about a property I've never seen before of what it may sell for 3, 4 months in the future.
I bet.
So,
How long?
oh, and they're putting all their cash on the line based on my number, by the way. So,
yeah, no pressure, right?
Yeah, no.
None. How long did you do that?
I did that for, let's see here, from 07 to 10, and then in 10 I started my own brokerage, Exclusive Home Realty, with Chris Perard in Seattle, and I had another partner, Brett Moreland, as well. And then we did kind of like a team model in NAEA. So I was in NAEA, did all the stuff, for that. We built it up.
How many agents did you have?
We were running, our team was anywhere from like 9 to 16 at any one time.
Okay.
It just depended on the seasonality and what we were doing. And we were probably best known for having just an assassin ISA. I mean, her name is Susan Yearbeck. She's an agent now, just crushes it. She does extremely, extremely well. Actually super proud of everybody that was on my team. They all went on to do like amazing stuff. Susan especially, she was responsible for no less than 150 sales a year herself.
That's crazy.
Just as an ISA.
Wow. I want to find someone like her.
Everybody wants something like everybody wants like a Susan, because she did no less than 100 appointments a month consistently, setting, and 25 a week. That was her thing.
Where did you find her?
So funniest story. So and this actually might help out somebody, because just always be aware of the opportunities, right, that are out there.
Yeah.
So Chris and I are sitting in our little office. We just started Exclusive. We're just like, okay, and we had we had a little bit of an issue, because we actually had implemented this system that we figured out how to get buyer leads for like $1 a lead. And we were generating like 800-900 leads at the time.
Holy crap. Yeah.
A month. They were just pouring in. And we were like, my God, we need to get an ISA to field this stuff, and so phone rings, and it's in have you ever been called by like Jerry's kids?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like you're like, Harley, we're going to arrest you. Like, what do you mean? They're like, so it's this whole deal. They'll come and arrest you in your place of business and take you away in handcuffs. And then your employees have got to like bail you out, and call their friends.
I've never heard of that.
It's a thing, right? It's this
thing.
And so that's what Susan was doing. And I put her on speaker because she's talking to me she's trying to convince me to do this thing. Right. And I put her on speaker, and Chris is just shaking his head. I'm like, dude, we need to hire this girl. I mean, she's good. And, she was in our office the next day, and then the next day she was working for us, and just never looked back. We told her she had to work from home though. She was so loud.
Really? Because normally we want them in here.
Well, that's what we thought too. But here's the other thing I found is that you get the right motivation of the right person. I don't know that matters so much.
I don't either. How long did she work with you guys?
It was either 5 or 6 years, something like that.
Holy crap, man. Yeah. You were blessed to have her that long.
Super blessed. She's amazing. She taught us a lot of stuff. Her main thing was just kind of start with the end in mind. So we would get these inquiry leads, these like buyer leads inquiring about like 123 Main Street. So she would call them and say, hey, I saw you're looking at 123 Main Street. Do you want to see it? Like that's the first thing she'd ask them. Do you want to go see it?
Yep.
And then she would kind of qualify from there. But it was just really just like little tweaks like that, that she did. And then also mainly it was her just her tenacity.
Oh yeah.
She was a really big boisterous personality on the phone, and she was super, super hard worker. Nobody could ever outwork her. I mean, she had 2 headphones, stand up desk, 4
Really?
monitors. I mean, it was just berserk, what she did. But it was just a high level of motivation, and she was really good at it. And she was really, and it was funny because when I hired her on, she was making $10 an hour, part-time at Jerry's Kids. And she, in her own words, she says, "Harley, when you told me, listen to what I say and you'll make 60,000 a year, plus," she's like, "I didn't believe you. I thought it was just another man telling me what I wanted to hear and blah, blah, but I went along with it." And, and so she did. And she did really super well, and now, now she's making, bazooka money, as an agent. She's in EXP too. She's just crushing it, doing well. I'm super proud of her.
And for you guys that don't know what an ISA is, it's an inside sales associate, and it's someone in a real estate office or team that makes outbound calls, usually in outbound, to generate business, to look for business, generate leads.
That's right. That's right. And she did that. And she fed a team of, I had 9 buyer agents, and then myself as a listing agent, and then I had another listing agent. We had 3 listing agents, but
Yep.
mainly it was me and another gal, and we kind of broke up the territories that way. We had radio leads coming in, and just different forms of marketing, but she did really, really, really good at getting me in front of people. She'd set 4 or 5 of those a week for me,
which is freaking awesome. Did you stay in production the whole time you guys had the brokerage open?
I did. My partner was not at the end. I was at, I think it was, well, it was either 12 or 17% of the business. Can't remember right now.
Okay.
But it was getting to the point to where, it wasn't a very big move for me just to be out completely.
Yep.
I mean, things were going well. The system worked the best because we had Susan, that was really, really good at getting the opportunities and making sure that the agents would do it. My agents didn't prospect at all, didn't do anything like that. They just went on appointments. That's all they did. Okay. And then we paid pretty well. We paid bonuses too. And we had everybody was taught to do buyer broker agreements. So they're all doing that. And, big shout out to Curtis Johnson out there too, just because, number one thing, we did too, was the upfront fees. So, we did those as well with the drop closes. That's an entire different topic, but that was a really big deal for us. And then on the back end of things, I had some amazing, just a top notch transaction to close person, Sarah Jean. She was just absolutely phenomenal.
So huge. And then when you transitioned out of that brokerage, what was your thought process there? What made you want to make that move?
Well, so funny story. So Chris, Chris, he's my partner, and he's a CEO, but he's running the whole thing, right? Like I'm literally just going on appointment on the face. I'm doing just marketing, things like that, right? He says, "Harley, hey, guess what? So Jason's our top agent, and we just put 3.5 bills in his pocket." I'm like, "Oh, great. Does that mean we made 3.5 bills?" And he's like, "Yeah." And the funny thing is, he left. I'm like, well, wait a second. I mean, number one, what buyer agents making $3,500 a year?
Right. Yeah.
Secondarily, why would he leave and go to Remax of all places?
Wow.
And so, so that happened. And so we never, and in the group, I would say we didn't really have an attrition issue. I mean, I know that a lot of people in our masterminds would have that.
Yeah.
And, it was always a thing. We just historically never did. We had a really tight knit group. People loved it. They loved just like getting appointment after
Yeah.
appointment, or, I mean, it was awesome. Sarah Jean handled everything else, and, the agent just did their thing. Right. But, Jason left, and what, and we had good bonus structures. I felt like the pay was good, and how we did it, and the culture was good, and there was good things about it there. But, you quickly realize, like, there's really no long-term, benefits here. And there's no, like, longevity and ability to retain agents
No.
specifically on a team. And then once they get to a certain level, and, Jason's decision, right, wrong, or indifferent, hey, it was made. And the thing is that we didn't really have anything else to offer them, so that was kind of a wake up call too. And, and then, that's when EXP kind of came into the picture. And it was like, boy, yeah, light bulb here. I mean, now we can offer a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
Like who would ever, get out of this thing, right? And I mean, and even still, with, like, all the health insurance benefits that I know a lot of people are benefiting from that just alone, just
Yeah.
in,
Me too.
terms of their family overall healthcare. But just the stocks and rev share options, and then the ability to just kind of make your own business within the business too. So
Yeah. And so when you got out of that, when you ended that like era, what year was that?
that was in, let's see here, 10 to about 17. I wound that
Okay.
down, 17, 18. And then I've been out on the East Coast too, and just, my main focus today is building wealth, helping other agents through just different ways possible. Um, Whether that
Different
be
streams of
through
income.
brokering more deals,
Yeah.
doing rev share, doing investments, and then recently solar now too. So we started to add solar in too, which is kind of a neat thing. Because all the
You
good
got
things
me
about
right here.
EXP, solar has too.
Yeah.
So
So the craziest thing is, like with you, you went from an independent brokerage to the EXP model, which of course is a much easier one because you're not having to be the broker and owner of everything and like
right.
captain everything and dealing with all that crap. You actually get to do the fun stuff. But like when you look at shifting markets, those independent broker offices, like right now, when we're in a shift and home sales are down, and home sales in some areas aren't even happening. Like here in our area in Houston, home sales have come to a huge reduction. They're like halted in a lot of areas, which is crazy because we've been in a frenzy for the last 2 years. So when you look at independent offices where their only source of income are sales, you have to wonder, how's that feeling about right now? Whereas with us and EXP, like you're taught immediately, look, this is how you get multiple streams of income going on. It's not all generated from your commission. In fact, a lot of
Correct.
it's not generated from your commission at all, which is super cool.
Super cool. And, and I know, you don't have to look real far in any kind of, wealth building literature or anything like that, to
No.
know that, like, hey, that, multiple streams of income is where it's at. And in building equity in a that's the other thing too, building equity in a company. And then, Floyd Mayweather, own it all, right? Like,
Yes.
there's that too. So,
Well, look at Amazon too. Like Amazon gets involved in every freaking industry out there and then they take things over. So I believe that the more things that you can get involved in, the better off you'll be and the safer you are when you go through shifting markets like we're in right now. So I have found, me being at EXP for it'll be 4 years in October, that even since joining EXP, just the collaboration that we do, like that's how I know you, is it then it opens you up to other businesses and other opportunities, which it definitely has. Where you and I are going to talk next week about your opportunity, but you're now involved in solar panels, which is
right.
seems to be the thing of the future, and a lot of people are going that way. So tell us kind of how you went into that mode on top of real estate and why.
Um, yeah, well, thanks. Well, and The reason why is because my mom kept at me about it, number one, that she
That's a good
she's
answer.
she tags herself as Solar Mom. She's a licensed realtor as well. But we, and when you think about it, so number one, I was real resistive to it because it was, I figured, okay, this is just another distraction, right? There's so many distractions, around us. We got to keep focused on things. However, when you think about it, when you can do a proper what we call as a cross sale. And a proper cross sale is when you can do something that you're already doing, and you can capitalize, and help other people in maybe a different way that may not be, your direct offer. So for instance, the real estate turn down lead is a solar lead. So if you're not going to sell your house, you're going to stay in your house. Would you like to save money using solar? That's a really easy conversation to
Yeah.
have. And I happen to team up with the company. It's called Power, POWUR. That is, they call themselves the EXP of solar. So they've taken the same Uber-esque idea platform, right, and applied it to the solar industry, and actually made a really, really cool model about how to, and how to do the sales, and made it really easy for agents to do. It's not for real estate agents, for anybody, but it really lends itself to the real estate industry for sure.
So I want to stop and talk about solar for a second because there's a lot of controversy about that. Some people are like, "Oh, it's a scam. It doesn't save money." Talk to us a little bit about solar and why you are a big proponent for it.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And here's the thing is that people wouldn't do it unless it made fiscal sense. And in some cases it may not, but in a lot of ones I've seen, it does. So the offering is pretty cool nowadays. Not only do you get state and federal incentives for doing it, and depending on what state you're in, you can get in no money down, no interest rates. You own the system. There's some, I know there's some stuff out there where you lease it.
Yeah.
Don't necessarily recommend that. But recommend owning the system because it will increase the value of your home, and it's roughly 5 to 7%. And if you want to look at the math on it, it's sort of like, okay, if you're buying a house, let's say you put on solar today, sold the house tomorrow. Well, you're going to sell it with the solar as if, let's say you put an air conditioning on. Okay, it's the same thing. It's an appliance,
Yeah.
right? So you're selling it with that, except that it doesn't have a bill, doesn't have an electric bill. So how much more is that worth,
Yeah.
right? So just look at that as a number. The other thing is that it just replaces what you're currently paying for electricity. Okay, let's say your bill is $200 a month. Well, that's what your solar payment would be after about there's promotions and whatnot that you don't pay anything for like a year and whatnot. But even without that, your your payment is exactly the same. Now you might say, well, how is that a savings? Well, it's a savings because you're investing into your own home of what your of your power needs. Because remember, right now you're signed up to lease power from
Yeah.
the power company, and they can increase that rate. This rate doesn't increase,
This
right?
is true.
So there's
And
that
they
too.
have increased their rates a lot since the last 12 months. Like, holy
Yeah.
crap, have you looked at your bill lately?
Yeah, it's nutty, and so that so that and that's why the net metering works, because it's just an amount of power, no matter what they're charging, per kilowatt is fairly irrelevant. It's more or less of what you're delivering and what you're consuming.
So,
So,
with people that are thinking about doing like solar panels, like you and I were talking about, probably not for somebody that's thinking of selling their house in the next year or two, right?
I mean, it could be, I don't know that I'd necessarily recommend it for that. I wouldn't do it as a strategy,
Okay.
but just know that, like, if one put it on today, you could effectively sell your house and not be out of pocket anyway for it, statistically. And the one I have sold a house with solar on it, and it did sell for quite a bit more than anybody else in the neighborhood, just because of that reason. I mean, they just didn't have they didn't have an electric bill, right? So.
So, do you think as the world continues to progress into all this innovation and all this new stuff, that this is going to be more of something that people are interested in because of that kind of control?
Well, I think so, and then just, and not even just touching on the, the green parts about it.
Yeah.
Every system, like in this company, Power, they've done about 10,000 installs. And they're in 22 states. They'll be in 30 some odd states by the end of the year. They plant like, hundreds of trees per install. It depends on kilowatt hour. They plant so many trees per kilowatt um, of install that they do, just as a give back. And just using green energy and powering your own stuff, versus just relying solely on the grid.
And then with your systems, I know not all the systems are the same, but with your systems, sorry, y'all, are they transferable when someone does sell their house?
Well, so they'll stay with the house.
Okay.
So the loan, if you're taking a loan on it, that loan would need to be paid off like any other loan
Okay.
at closing, like any other, closing cost that you would have on your house.
Okay. When I look at like things that are changing, I've seen like solar panel companies popping up all over the place. What made you choose power?
Well, I just like Power because of the uh how it works, just like EXP. In fact, that's their whole marketing,
Talk to
that
us about that.
they pitch. Yeah, because they, they'll do it with like levels down too. Like, so you can
Okay.
get rev share. They're pre-IPO. So I would say they're about their EXP maybe 8 years ago, like that.
Really?
hmm
So
Yep.
that's kind of crazy because that's like ground floor, which is a
Yes.
huge opportunity.
Yeah, ground floor. And I just personally saw what all, how EXP blew up, and I just believe in this type of model. I think that it's shown to us over and over and over again, and even and even Uber and companies like that are just, I mean, the idea of having a platform, model, and using people out in the, in the world, like Uber uses, your private drivers, basically,
Right.
right? So that same concept, and that I just believe in that business model. So
So for you, and I guess, with EXP, you have multiple streams of income, but this has been providing you another stream of income.
right.
That's got to give you kind of a sense of security too as we go through different markets.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially in times when, right now it's kind of a grab bag because there's so many agents out there and so few transactions. It's kind of tough. It makes things very, very competitive. And so, with this is kind of, a way to kind of get around that, navigate it, right?
Yeah, another source of revenue. Where you are you seeing the market there, the big shift like we're seeing here in Houston? Have you already seen that happening?
It's slowing down for sure. I mean, just, yeah, interest rates and whatnot, but it's welcomed, because boy, you couldn't even get in edgewise. I mean, not
No.
even anything. So hard.
What's your thoughts about the upcoming market in the next, say, 6 to 12 months? What kind of market do you think we're moving into? I love picking people's brains.
I think it'll equal out between then now and then. I mean, it's definitely gonna go that direction. We'll see what happens to in kind of major power shifts. I don't know if you follow Ray Dalio or not, but
No.
he boy, he has some pretty good stuff on YouTube out there about kind of
Who is
the
it?
Ray, is it Ray Dalio?
I'm
See
gonna
if
have to
I
look
say
him
that
up.
right. um,
What is he? Who is he?
Dalio. So he's kind of he's a stock and bond guy,
Okay.
right? So he does a lot of financial predictions, and his book, Principles, is pretty widely read, and he just has a lot of insight. He's been cited as one of the guys to watch, right? For his predictions. So I kind
So
of
what
watch
are
him.
his predictions for the rest of 2022 and 2023? What's he saying?
Um, so I don't know specifically that close, but he's looking at kind of like more forecasting out, like we're kind of on an edge of 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 our reign as the U.S., for instance.
Yeah.
So, and we have upcoming powers, like China,
Yep.
coming into mix. Things have changed big, in major ways, especially with like cryptocurrencies and things that are coming online, shifts of power,
Yeah.
and like we're seeing with oil and gas right now. Um, so yeah, those things are definitely looming, in the mix, that's for sure.
I think so too. What's your thoughts? So there's another thing when you look at like, especially the housing market, when you look at the housing market and when you look at like Grant Cardone said on a training just a week ago that 57% of homes nationwide sold were being sold to investors or investor groups, which I had already heard 1 out of every 3 homes is being sold to investors. I didn't know it was 57%. And again, I'm just quoting what he
Wow.
said, which is huge. And then when you look at like, okay, what's the goal and what could this lead to? Then, of course, there are those that say, well, this could lead to the end of the first time home buyers because basically the investors are scooping up everything under 500,000, which is typically first time home buyers and that middle to lower income. So when you look at that, then what does that do for home ownership? Is it make everyone then become renters until they can afford the bigger homes? What's your thoughts on that?
Boy, I think that is definitely a shift.
Yep.
It's not something we've seen before.
No.
Um, the only thing that I've seen that was somewhat like that was in the last foreclosure crisis when we were bidding at auction. Um, there was a pretty big run where it was just kind of the individual person buying
Yeah.
them, and then we had like major like hedge funds and whatnot come in and
Oh,
just
yeah.
buy them all.
Yep.
Like typically at auction we wanted to stay at around, we wouldn't go above around 80 cents on the dollar. That'd be a real expensive one. But these hedge funds were going 85, 88 cents on the dollar and they just didn't care.
No, because
Right.
they can.
Yeah. So that's the only time I've really seen that. And I think that this undercurrent of what's happening right now, we're not in a foreclosure crisis, but we're in kind of an inventory crisis. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's, that uh, kind of the same deal, right? They're buying their inventory somehow.
Yes.
So
So then when you look at that, and then another thing you look at is like Airbnbs. Okay, so they're trying to outlaw them in so many different places. Are you guys feeling the pressure there from the Airbnbs being outlawed?
I don't know. I'm not really in that space.
But think about that. It's like, holy crap, that's a whole lot of people that would affect as well, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's a big industry for sure.
I mean, there's always usually a workaround, but it's like there's always somebody trying to take a bite out of something. It's interesting because, like, you and I have been in real estate forever, and the traditional real estate is gone, like
Yeah.
gone, isn't it?
Yeah, it seems that way. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, you kind of have to look at alternative methods
you
right
do,
now.
and you got to look at like alternative ways to make a living,
Right. Right.
especially if you're a business owner and you're running a brokerage. You know,
Right.
that
Exactly.
can be a problem.
Well, and you brought up a really good point too, Trisha, just about like the um the liability aspect too. And everything just having your own. When I had my own brokerage, I mean, we were always dealing with some sort of complaint, like always. There's always somebody trying to sue me or
Oh
doing
yeah,
this or that, and unfortunately, we never had to. Nothing ever came of it,
no,
right? But we had to fight them all, and I just don't have that at EXP either. You
no.
know,
You
um,
don't, you can kind of go about your business, your day-to-day operations, and it's pretty smooth. It can be as smooth as our business can be in real estate and so forth.
Yeah, because sometimes people talk, oh yeah, 16,000 cap or whatever. Like to me, that's super cheap. I mean, it's like hiring a broker, and attorney, and staffing for 16,000 in a year. That's pretty cheap. So,
And if you're a
yeah,
producer, you just get it back in stock.
then
So
you get it back
you're at
anyways.
100%. What the hell are you talking about?
Right,
Plus, you're over
right.
100%.
So
It's a
yeah, it's a little
no-brainer
bit
to me.
limited thinking. Yeah.
I don't know about you, but when I was like running my office, I got my broker's license because I really believed that I was a better way to help the agents. I was going to
Right.
give them the best training. I was going to be able to give them the best everything. But if you look at that now, if you're an independent broker, that is not true because there's no way that you can compete with the innovation that's coming at us, the training that we offer, and all the collaboration. Nobody can.
Right. Yeah. Agreed. Agreed. Especially just getting back from shareholders. I mean, I mean, we had an amazing time. Number one, and I mean, just the level of training and people and information there was just astounding. I mean, it was just
And
something.
energy.
Yeah, and the energy. I mean,
Yeah, energy helps because like they tell you that people, when they have energy, it's infectious. People want to be around people that have energy. And I don't know about you, but when I'm in a room where there is no energy, it's like, I got to get out of here. And in our business, like you said, where sales are limited, there's not as many sales happening. People are going to do business with people that are that they like and trust, but also who have energy, good energy.
right. Yep. That's
You
right.
got to have it.
That's
What do
right.
you think now? You've been through multiple different market changes, and of course, you're in different industries, and most of them have always been related to real estate. Really, they all have. So, for the average agent out there going through the shifting market like we're going through right now, what would you tell them they need to focus on, like getting through the next 6 to 12 months?
For the average agent out
Yep,
there. Yeah, I would say, boy, that's a good question.
it is.
I would say just focus on uh, uh, with the end in mind. Like look at where you want to go with it. That's what I always ask people. Like, well, what do you want to go with this?
Yeah.
Because I mean, brokering houses, that's one thing. Um, but that's never going to lead to any kind of long term fulfillment. Like where like wh- how are what are the things that you're doing to build wealth and to build a revenue stream that's going to work when you're not working? Like
Yep.
that's what I ask. Like what are you doing, and are you doing that every day, and are you doing the steps that it needs to be to get to that? Some people do that in different ways, but I mean, like that's what I would focus on. Also, I mean, obviously, focus on sellers. I mean, that'd be a good one. So,
Big time.
uh, more sellers, the better for you. Um, but that's those would be the things that I'd be looking at for sure in this
What do you
space,
think
especially right now.
will happen with the interest rate? Do you see it coming back down a little bit, or do you think it will continue to rise, or do you think it will stay where it is?
I mean, I think it'll continue to rise.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I think it'll go up more. I think we have more room.
Where do you think we'll go to?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, 8 or 9% maybe. That
Have you guys
I've seen
seen
I've seen it
any?
that high before. So
Yeah, which was crazy. I mean, it was the norm back then, but we haven't seen anything like that in years.
yeah. Yeah, but and it's still, the thing is I think the interest rate's fairly irrelevant. I mean, it just has to do with like the opportunity that you can make out of any particular situation. I mean, people, certainly made a lot of money when interest rates were 7, 8%,
Oh
so
my gosh, yeah. You know what we're seeing here is people that are under contract, or maybe they've been under contract for more than 30 days, they're terminating because they believe the market's shifting so fast. They don't want to overpay for their homes, so they're terminating their contracts. Are you guys seeing that at all there?
I haven't seen that. No. Uh-uh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. We just had one today.
Really?
Yes, yes,
Jeez.
absolutely, and they were within their option period too, this one that did it today. They were like, "You know what? The market has shifted just in the last week, and we feel like that home is no longer worth that, so we're terminating this. This is what our new offer is if you wanna accept that." It's like, "What the hell? Yeah, no." Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's probably people that have been through the last crash too.
Yep, yes.
Um, and boy, I still remember selling like the last house standing on the last day right before that crashed. I had a really, really good client. His name is Omri, and he had a place for me to sell in West Seattle, and we had it listed in it. Started to get a little long in the tooth. It was going on like 2 weeks, which normally we'll sell them like right away. And this is
Okay.
a flip that he's doing, right? And he called me up, and I'd never seen, and Omri's like cool as a cucumber. He did like lots and lots of flips with me, right? And and he called me up, and he's just like, Harley, I need you to sell that property right now, like today. And he's like, I'm like, okay, and and so like we just dropped the price. I mean, we got it under contract, we sold it, but it literally the bottom filled out like right after that. Like he
Isn't
was
that
also
crazy?
a really smart guy, like really analytical guy. So like he knew something was up. And
Yeah.
boy, yeah, he skated out of it, but that did happen. And maybe, and I know people still remember a lot of those times.
Yeah, they do.
So yeah, I can
And
see
then
that.
looking back on that, like when the mortgage industry did crash in 2008, and of course, there's people that talk about that now. I don't see that happening, and I don't believe we're going to have a big foreclosure inventory. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't think so either. Yeah, I agree.
You
I
know, there's
mean,
so many people out there waiting for the deal. So once homes do start coming on the market that maybe are slightly priced, under market value because maybe they do have to sell, they're still going to get scooped up like crazy because we have a crap ton of buyers.
yeah. Yeah, there's still a lot of people that need housing, and that's the thing. Is like we just have the demand for it. It's all about supply and demand,
It
at the
is.
end of the day.
We're going through and I told all of my agents on my team when everything started shifting. I called it like 60 days ago. I was like, this is what's happening. You can see the indicators coming. And then I said, once we get to where the interest rates spike a little bit, you're going to see where everything just freezes. No one's going to make a move because the confused mind just says no. So you're going to have people that get on the fence and they're going to be like, I'm going to wait for them to come back down. But then you're also going to have people that are on the fence that are like, I can't even afford it anymore. They're bumped out of the market. It
Right.
is what it is. We just push through always.
Right. Yep.
It's still a great
Cream's going to
market.
rise to the top. It's going to be that
Heck
best
yeah.
buyer, you know.
There's people always have to move. 85% of home sales are because of a life change, either a divorce or a baby or someone lost their job or death. So it's like those things are still happening every single day. That's what we got to
That's right.
focus on, not the negative crap.
That's right.
And that's what
Yep.
this show is for. It's Walk Away Wealthy. We focus on positivity.
Well, yeah, I think those would be the main things for me. I mean, I would focus on multiple streams of income.
Yep.
I'd focus on like what are you going to do long term? Um, how we built teams before is not how we build teams today.
No.
Teams today are global. They are they're affiliate and they are brought in different ways. So
Hmm.
I would look at that. I would take a hard look at these types of platforms. And then I'd also, just keep whatever's, between your ears, in a positive state, because that's really where it all starts.
Yep.
And make sure that your environment is cohesive, to all that and supportive to you, because, environment's stronger than will.
Oh,
So,
I love that one. Good one. And of course, if you guys want to get involved with solar panels or learn more about that, how can they find you, Harley?
well, they can email me. They can find me on Facebook. And let's see here. I don't even know what my Facebook handle is right now. I think it's Harley Broker.
I think it's something like that too.
See your Facebook. What I got.
I'm a big believer in having multiple streams of income. I mean, everyone wants that get rich quick thing and they're going to get rich. And I think too many people are trying to get rich overnight. That just isn't reality, you guys. But if you can get yourself involved in multiple streams of income, that maybe you only do, a little bit here, a little bit there, and then a big lot, in different places, but it all comes together into a big pile. And so we're definitely having a conversation with Harley because I trust him and I know he's not going to tell me something that's not right. And B, I think it definitely has some merit because you do see more houses here in our area anyway with solar panels on them. And especially after what happened here in Houston when we were without power during that freeze, a couple of years ago, it's like
Right.
people really are thinking about that,
Absolutely.
being in more
Broker
control.
Harley on Facebook. So just look me up that way.
Guys,
You can
hit
find
him
me.
up if you want to learn more. It's again another maybe way for you guys to make some more money to get through some hard times or just to have some passive income or just to have some extra income.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been good for me. I mean, Yeah, I'm looking at doing 50 solar sales this year. So,
I love that. Holy crap.
you know,
You guys add that up. We're not going to tell you what that looks like on the back end. That would warrant a phone call. But let me tell you something. That's some good change there.
350,000 at 7,000 if you're looking at, just raw numbers that way. Also, at 50 sales in this company, you get 1,250 stock shares,
Interesting.
which are, like pre-IPO stuff. So who knows
Sure.
what'll come out as, they're working on it, right? Trisha, you're in pre-IPO, right? At
Yeah.
EXP, I believe,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So,
So remember, then it was like nothing.
yeah, it came out like really, I don't remember now, like $3-4 a share or
It
something like
was.
that.
Yep.
And then, yeah. So,
Went all the
and
way to
I
over
know
100.
people got those. That is worth a lot
Heck
now.
yeah. Remember when it was over 100? Like,
Uh-huh.
holy crap, that was insane.
Right?
This could be the next thing to do that.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm optimistic.
Time to
Why
start
not?
building it.
Heck yeah. I'm so happy that you got on here with me, Harley. I
Yeah.
do believe that
Likewise.
people need to pay attention to what they're paying attention to and who they're paying attention to. I mean, people that are offering help like Harley, he's just trying to help you find a better way, a way to make more money, like we're all trying to do.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. You can do it.
we all
Yeah,
can
I
do it.
firmly believe it.
Heck yeah. Thanks for being on here today, Harley.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me, Trisha. I appreciate it.
You're
Good
welcome.
talking to you.
You guys make sure to reach out to him and y'all have a great day.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.